Hi, I'm Dan Danford. We're doing a series of podcasts for Dad's Divorce called Money Made Easy. I usually take a question posed by a viewer. This one is a question that most of us ponder at some point in our life. My girlfriend and I have been talking about getting married and starting a family. The problem is neither of us makes good money or have a stable long-term job, especially in this economy. So I'm worried about the costs of raising children. Is there a way to budget for that or know how much raising a kid will cost? Well, that's a great question. I guess what I'd have to say is that many people jump right into the whole marriage and family thing without asking that question. And just the fact that you ask the question means that you're probably on the road to being a responsible parent. The truth of the matter is, and I speak from the authority of having 3 children of my own, most of us, if we put a pencil to it, would never have children. Okay? It's just one of those things that certainly not predictable, and if you saw the numbers involved, it would scare you off. So I'm not sure that this is primarily a financial decision. There are few blessings in life that are as meaningful or as important as having children. And so I just think, having some awareness about the finances and things is very, very important, but I'm not sure you make this decision on financial things alone. I've been reading a book, and I'll recommend the book to you, and I can't remember the exact title, but I'll get close. The book is by a fellow named Jay Moore. And Jay is a stand-up comedian. You've probably seen him on television or heard his name anyway. He used to be on Saturday Night Live. And the best of my recollection, the name of the book is something like, "So This Is Why My Parents Drank." Okay? And it really is a very funny account of having children. And he spends a lot of time recounting, the birth and the growth of his son. And like I say, it's very funny. But I also think he makes, a couple of really important points. And one of the important points is you really can't be prepared for how disruptive it is to have children. Okay? No matter what you think or how your parents or your spouse have warned you, having children in your household really does turn your life upside down. And some of that upside downness is wonderful, wonderful things. Maybe most of it, okay? But the truth of the matter is it changes your life in ways that you can't even imagine. And so it's one of those things that you really ought to go into with your eyes wide open. And certainly one of the areas ought to be finances. Okay, so here are a few things that I can share with you about that. Number one, wait until your relationship is stable. I happen to be married to a wonderful woman, and this wonderful woman is a high school counselor. In fact, she was last year named the best high school counselor in the state of Missouri. So she's pretty accomplished in her own right. And when I was talking to her this weekend about this question, one of the things she said was, she said it's not an issue of financial stability. She said make sure both partners have emotional stability before they have kids. Okay? And that gets kind of to what I'm talking about here. Your relationship with each other needs to be very stable before you bring kids into the relationship. Because by their very nature, as wonderful as they are disruptive. And if your relationship with your spouse isn't stable, then having kids is probably going to aggravate that condition. So the first step is make sure that your relationship with each other is stable. The second one is your financial situation should be as stable as it's going to be. Now obviously, any of us who've lived and worked for a while, we understand that what seems very stable can disappear in a heartbeat. People get laid off, companies go bankrupt, all those kinds of things. So I'm not sure that you can ever be adequately prepared. But what I will say is wait until things seem stable before you think about having children. Okay? It's the same old issue. Having kids is a wonderful blessing, but they create a certain amount of instability of their own in a family. And so if you have financial instability or emotional instability, that will come home to roost. The other thing I'll say and this I say all the time, especially to my oldest daughter, is, thank God that kids are resilient, okay? Most of us who have children are just learning. I mean, you can read the books, you can talk to your parents, you can talk to other people who have kids. The truth of the matter is, until you have kids of your own, it's sort of a learning experience. And God bless my oldest daughter. She's grown into a wonderful woman. I'm very, very proud of her. But in many ways, she was a guinea pig for my wife and I as she was growing up. And I can tell you right now that the other two, they got treated differently when they grew up than our oldest daughter, simply because we learned some things from the oldest that we were able to use for the other two. The good news is that, aside from abuse or some things like that, kids recover pretty quickly and pretty well. If kids know that they are loved, and if you take care of them the way you should, they'll come out okay despite your mistakes. And believe me, you will make some mistakes. And then the last point I'd add on that is, though money is important, and I just got to tell you, it does cost a lot of money to have kids, okay? It costs a lot of money just, to clothe them, to provide for them, of course, to put them through school and the things that are necessary to do there. But even though money is important, time and attention is more important, okay? So I guess what I'd say, going back to that emotional stability and that financial stability, is if you're going to spend all your time trying to make ends meet, that is going to deprive your kids of the attention that they deserve and that they crave, okay? So one of the steps is, provide for an emotionally and financially stable situation so that you can give your children the time and attention that they deserve, okay? Having children, honest to gosh, is one of the biggest decisions you'll make, okay? And I think you're asking the right question by saying, are we ready to have kids? Okay, that's true. The last thing is, you want to have the financial ability to take care of those kids, but at the same time, that shouldn't be your primary choice. I don't know whether it's God's plan or not, but I do know most families who have young children don't have enough money, because there's no amount of money that would allow you to give everything that you would like to give to these wonderful little creatures, okay? It's just part of the cycle. We start out kind of poor, and probably even poorer when we have kids. But as our kids grow and we get more responsibilities in our job and elsewhere, then our finances improve too. So the family grows together, including the kids. And going back again to my situation, we had two children born real close together, and then a third one that was a little bit behind. And when you talk to those three kids, it's really interesting. The third child grew up in a completely different environment from the first two. And the reason she did was because our situation was better when she came into our family. Our financial stability was better. We made more money. So the first two kind of look at her and think she got the easy way because she had things that they never had. It wasn't because of anything we did. It's just the natural cycle of life. So I guess my answer to your question is, no, there isn't any indicator. I can't tell you that you need to have $10,000 in the bank or $100,000 in the bank before you start having kids. And in fact, what I'll tell you is the finances are probably second or third down the list when you're making your decision about when to start your family. Finances are important, but they're not the only thing that's important. And believe me, nothing will change your life for the better like starting a family and having kids. Just be responsible about how you do it, and you'll be blessed in so many ways. Okay, that's it for this week on Money Made Easy. We'll see you next week. Thanks.